Oh, hello, everyone. Whole team is here today. Wonderful to see you. 𝗲𝗲, fresh. Look at that shirt. He's looking crispy here today. Great to see it. Lots of topics. Oh, and 𝗕𝗏 even added one. Wonderful, wonderful. At least from my side, but we'll try to drill in and make this, all hands on deck, discussion about some pretty interesting things that have been happening over the last few weeks and even recently as today. So I'm 𝗲𝗏. I'm CEO of 𝗕𝗶𝗴. I work for 𝗕𝗶𝗴. I love it very much. And, really, had this sort of moment this week of what's like, man, all this wonderful data is here. And now it's just about displaying it in the right way, giving it to people in the most meaningful way possible. And, that's a really exciting part of this journey now. So continuing on that and look forward to sharing some insights along the way.
I'm 𝗲𝗏. I'm the accountant here. I've been getting into quite the spooky holiday Halloween season. So looking forward to a good discussion here, and happy Halloween for everybody that's having plans this weekend.
𝗕𝗏, digital strategist here at Speak. Just writing and strategizing, I suppose. That's been my life for the past little while. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is 𝗲𝗏 and CTO at 𝗕𝗶𝗴. Happy to back on the pod here. Last week I was traveling to India. Currently I'm in India. It's 9:37 in the almost a night. But I'm excited to be on the pod and looking forward to talking a couple of topics.
You know what, 𝗲𝗏, it means a lot. The time in the world you are, where you are, you still show up here. That's appreciate that very much. I guess, well, Lauren brought it up, but yeah, happy Halloween. Anyone have any plans, any costumes do we have emerging here? Lauren, you seem excited. Are you a Halloween guy? Let us know what's going on.
Yeah, just parties with friends and family. Want to be the Swamp Thing. I don't really have a choice over the matter. I was kind of assigned that, but I'm cool with that.
Yeah, no, I was invited to a Halloween party, but I don't think I've had or planned for a Halloween costume in like 4 years. All right, so it's like I'm like, what am I gonna go? I'll go as the sun. I'll just wear the sweater and like be like, I'm the sun. Is he getting his Halloween costume? I bet
he definitely got something. Yeah,
sunglasses. He's
sunglasses.
Going as Guy Fieri. Guy Fieri?
There you go.
Oh, Daredevil? Nice.
No, it's gonna be obvious tomorrow. We're not quite there, but it's Neo Matrix. Monica's going Trinity, and we are going all black. Everything we got.
You look like you could pull Charlie Cox well, bro. Like
I appreciate all that. Yeah.
Like
we had some glasses that were pretty nice, but they were like more like Men in Black glasses, and Monica was just not satisfied, so she ordered these from Amazon and went full out. So we're going up to a nice little. Some of the people that we've been going to like the drum circles and stuff, and they're having this crazy event. So there's gonna be some wild costumes there. I'm actually quite excited for that.
This looks pretty good. For sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to shave my beard though, which means I don't. No one wants to see that. Like,
no, but in the Resurrections, he has a beard in the new movie.
Interesting. I might use that. Yeah, I was thinking about also like wanting to get my hair like all black, but I feel like I'm gonna be sweating and dancing, and like that's just I'm gonna look like what's his name, Rudy Giuliani, when he had it. I don't need any of that. So that's I missed what you said. Anything on your side? What is Halloween's not really in India.
Yeah, it's not in India, but here we have the Diwali. So I don't know. You might hear the crackers. It's like the kids are playing it downstairs. But it's a big festival. It's starting from next week. It's next Tuesday. So it's going to be Tuesday to Sunday, full holiday, sort of a small vacation here. It's going to be fun.
What does that mean for you? Yeah, what does that mean for you? What does this entail? Is that the one that I went to and danced? Though that was a
Navratri. That was the 9 days. Sort of a dance festival. But this is sort of a cultural, we go to the temple. It's sort of a new year in the Hindu calendar. And we go to the temple, get the blessings from the grandparents, old people, and that sort of a ritual. We go to the friends, family, and yeah, it's sort of a nice to see everyone because I've been here in India after a very long time. So it's been going to be a very good time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and considering
the,
it's, go ahead.
Sorry, are all the temples open or do they close down for COVID?
No, it's all open now.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, so that's a good sign.
So that's what, considering you're here, you might pop off early just because it's getting late there. You know, I'll give you the floor of maybe a couple topics or anything that you want to talk about before you hop off.
Sure. I don't have the good lights or the camera either here. So I don't know, I can see myself getting darker and the light, but anyway, that's all good. So a couple of topics and updates we do have on the engineering side, like the text import option, which is coming after, I would say, a long time. I don't know. Anyway, so that will open up a lot of scope for people to analyze the document. Could be the text document and the Word document. The beautiful part we got here, and I'm so happy and excited about this. That's why I wanted to jump on this part here, talk about the ability and the scope of this feature. So now think about if you have these different documents in the different formats, you can dump within the same interface and also the multi-upload functionality. So you don't need to wait or upload each document every single time. You can analyze all this document in the different formats within a one click. How beautiful that is. I don't know, it's really exciting. It's really exciting for me personally, because that solves a lot of problem in terms of the time, in terms of the documents which are sitting either on the Drive, Dropbox, on your local computer. You can dump and find those insights which you have never thought about. And so many opportunities and options could open up for our customer. It's completely free. We didn't put any pricing yet. So that, I think so, if you're listening and if you want to try, you can dump all these documents if you are in the free trial. So that's, yeah, I will stop here.
Just maybe two things. The process before was copying and pasting, which was basically what people were doing when they were trying to analyze documents that they had previously done. So that's true. But yes, you're right. But what we found is a lot of people hooking up Zapier and triggering it with something live that then moving forward, like this idea of like retroactively taking documents that are created is really valuable. And maybe just to make this, you know, just wondering of what you see, what do you expect to see coming in? So one of the ones we know already is there's some newsletters coming in to speak for analysis. I think we've seen requests for some emails that are coming in. That's one thing. Anything else that's what you expect or that you think is going to be, you know, producing value from kind of documents that we'll see.
I think so. The reports where people research work, where you have work on, if you're even the PhD or even if you're doing some research work, you write a lot of documents and a lot of things were hidden in that. And before that, the recording the interviews or doing the interviews on the Zoom wasn't that usual, right? What was the usual is like people do write notes either on the notepad or the Word document, and they store all this document. So that is also part of the process would open up the opportunity. And another piece which is coming, or sort of I would say connected, which creates the more value, is sort of the folder layout, which is coming on the speak, where you can, when you dump all this file together in any formats, you can visualize by that folder. So you save a folder called, let's say, the project one, and you can have the audio, video, and text, all these three different formats in the one sort of hood, and you can analyze or compare with another folder and do so many things. So I do connect and see the value with these two connected dots here.
And I thought maybe just one other part is, you know, there are people who are using, for example, other transcription systems or even retroact, you know, have used that in the past. But that problem that we've seen emerge is just, I've got all these transcriptions, now what? And so there's very scientific academic people who are diving deep into, very sophisticated tools, but then there's this whole layer of people who can't use those tools, don't want to. It's just such a big lift that they're looking for something easier. So say you've used another system to get transcriptions, maybe automated, maybe professional. You've got them in Word doc format, text format, PDF. Upload 50 of them at once into Speak, and all of a sudden get a whole, new just discovery of insights, which is pretty cool. So, ನೇಹಾ, Lauren, any thoughts on this before we move on? Oh, no. Say no. Okay.
No.
Okay. So go ahead, ನೇಹಾ.
Oh, no, I mean, I think it's an interesting addition that opens up a couple of potential mobilization opportunities as well for like our end users, where once again, I think once we actually get people using it extensively, we'll kind of see what exactly people are trying to derive from all this content that they put in. Because I believe we had a quick discussion earlier this week about just how a lot of our functionality for text analysis and building out relevant outputs for people is there. Like we have a lot of the basics in the system. It's just a matter of us figuring out how to make that presentation maybe a bit nicer, a bit more valuable to someone that's using the platform. Because we discussed, for example, the fact that Evernote, as an example, is a great, I guess, like cross-platform text gathering or note gathering tool, but it lacks a lot of functionality that actually goes beyond just a place to store your notes. But and hopefully, the way we're trying to build a system as well actually helps us build towards more of a analytic tool, whether that's on the professional or like there's still that personal element that we kind of have in the platform that people can use it for, and just iterating on that. So yeah, I mean, pretty cool. It was also neat to see, for example, when we uploaded the PDF files. I'm not sure if that's been reinstated back yet, but the fact that it actually captured some of the formatting, but made that into a text, like a text or Word doc format, that I thought was pretty neat. I wonder if that it wouldn't work on like a protected PDF, right?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then, yeah, we wouldn't have to worry too much about people abusing our system.
Yeah.
I thought
even
that
the PDF, even the PDF is sort of a part of the version number 2 for now, because it has its own complexity in terms of exporting the format. So, but yeah, looking forward to see the usage of the TXT and the doc format.
Have you guys seen like a noticeable like increase in the use of the text analysis? Have you like seen anybody like use it for a specific reason?
not as much. I would say most people, what we're seeing right now, are taking a transcript and converting it to text so that they can work with the transcript. But I think that's part of the push here now, is for us to educate people on the value of this, or just sort of just education on the kinds of documents that are available that are information rich and valuable, and how our system can help augment that. And obviously we've got the named entity recognition part and sentiment, but there's a lot more work to automatically sort of summarizing that information, or showing more contextual insights that are really valuable there. A couple quick things too is one, like we have like this, I don't know if this makes sense, but because like we have this embeddable recorder, and the little term is recorder. So that, but like, what if someone is wanting to collect text data from somewhere, and structure that better, and then use the insights of Speak, like. We have audio recording, video recording, and then file upload. And all of a sudden we have this text analysis of sort of documents. So if someone uploaded something, or even if they, typed in something, there's a way for us to add value there. So that's a preemptive thought. I don't know.
That's why we have the Chrome extension here. So.
That's true. That's true.
So
that's true.
So we need to see the analytics on that, but that does fulfill the purpose, the objective of it.
That's if you're trying to analyze something, but if you're trying to capture feedback from other people. Anyways, I'm not gonna go too deep on that. I like that I can close my eyes here, but you guys can't tell because of the glasses on. One other thing, 𝗍𝗏, I think the first time I heard someone brought up the word mobilize, and I think you sort of revolted, and now I hear it in your vocabulary, so I like it.
I mean, when you can't change the vocab, you just start using it, right?
Oh man. Okay. Where do we take this conversation? There's a lot of topics here, probably too many. What do you guys want to flow into next, Vattel? I guess anything else you want to chat about before you hop off?
No, we can connect the point with the, I'm not sure if it sounds interesting, which is human first sentiment or web. We just did the web app audit, and what does that mean to us? And why is it important, or any other thoughts around that?
Just the one that I'll bring you back to something that connects a couple of these things, and that I know you wanted to talk about, which is, I guess, a really good discussion you, 𝗍𝗏, and I had this week about this sort of how you can best use this explore page and then filter the information properly. And so, we have our, always nervous when you share live, but we've got this explore dashboard, and this is sifting through all the information. And then you're able to click on something. So I think hopefully pick one that has enough information. Great, we've got team. And this is one thing that you just talked about already, Vattel, which is like, this. So one of them is this sentiment. And so as myself, part machine, Neo from the Matrix, I understand what this means, but 𝗍𝗏 always shared this visualization through this email visualization that we're doing this week. And it's like, that this scale, or the way that we present this information, is not very sort of human-centered. It's very machine-centered. And so what does this actually represent? This represents slightly positive, basically. So do we actually say that? Instead of printing out the number, we say slightly positive? Or do we, again, show the emoji? Do we show some sort of color feedback? And how can we just make this a little bit more impactful from that perspective? So that was something that's
meaningful, impactful, and meaningful.
Go ahead, Neil.
Oh no, I was just saying that to make it more impactful and meaningful, the analysis. Go ahead, Neil. I'll come back.
It's just, I feel like, one thing is obviously being able to gauge the overall sentiment of a file at a glance, right? It's like, okay, if we're doing it from like a 0 to 100 scale, where the higher you go on the scale, the more positive it is. If it's 50%, it's neutral. If it's below that, it's leaning towards the negative side. And I think that's useful. But I think where I, for example, found it easier to kind of visualize some sort of significance to the sentiment analysis, for example, is when there was an aggregate and we did the ring chart, for example, where we actually showed the breakdown of, okay, this is 60% positive. There were 20%. It was 20% was neutral. 20% was leaning negative, right? And then you could obviously dive deeper into that, because I believe that's kind of what we had before when we had the emojis, right? Like it was a bit like we had a percentage for the happy emoji, neutral emoji, and then the sad emoji. Yeah. So I think that maybe wasn't the best representation, but I do still think it was closer to kind of like an understandable breakdown than, like just overall sentiment, right? Like I do think overall sentiment has a place, but I feel like because sentiment's like variable, right? There's like, let's say 5 different metrics we could give to it. I'm not sure if giving an overall presentation like this really tells me much.
The issue before was to fit the content here, and that's why we moved to the overall sentiment. I just wanted to also just quickly wanted to show a couple of things. And here, like this. So this emojis is one part where we can represent with the score, and also the overall sentiment in the Explore Insight page. If you go back quickly, Tyler, just for a second, on the Explore Insight page. So here, let's select one of the words, please. That's okay. All right, team. So here also, what I just want to tell here is like we got a couple of points from our customer, which absolutely makes sense. And when you see the last column, which called jump to media, it was action, and the icon, it was called jump to, and it's like jump to where it's gonna jump to, which is but obvious for us, which is like the media, but for the end user, it's like what does that mean? So now if you jump to the media, in that session we discuss about what if we jump to the transcription, have that search term ready, and you only see the transcript with that search term. And I was like, so the whole process makes everything so much easy. So it's so much helpful even for the customers to just look at very specific term. And if you go back to the Explore Insight page and click on one of the transcript sentence, then that will jump to the exit sentence. So
yeah, I think this is great. No, I think this is great because it makes it more like a, like when we say things like searchable database, right? Because when you use any tools like Excel or Airtable, right, whenever you add like a specific filter, it basically removes all the other irrelevant content and just shows you the pieces that you're looking for, right? Which is kind of this change that you did, which I think really adds quite a bit of value to that, I guess, accessibility as well, right? Because now if they are only looking for a team, right, why do we kind of have to make them click to scroll through the thing, right? Because because to your point, like Word still does it that way, or Google Docs still does it that way, and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a pain. Imagine if you have like 100 mentions across your entire file, and you need to hit down 100 times
every time. Next.
Exactly. So I think that's pretty neat.
It was just a great moment where we had, again, we started to talk about this morning, but like we had this discussion, and then we're like, this makes so much sense. And then a customer using it was like, can you do this? And then that just triggered like, even the quicker prioritization of this. And now it's in the platform within a week. So it went from, thought on Wednesday, maybe Tuesday to now it's, exactly. And how much, I know that maybe it seems like a simple example, but if you're getting, and say it's a 2-hour file, and all of a sudden we've removed all unnecessary information to show you just what you care about. We've done a huge, just speed and efficiency for people. So I'm really excited about those things. And like, again, you don't realize how deep or that this is even an opportunity unless you build this system or you interact with data like this. Like I love these things where we have these little sort of micro improvements that have a huge, just consequences across the entire platform. That makes me so excited, and it makes us feel like we're continuing to differentiate our product through iterative learning and listening to feedback, and also continuing to try to innovate on our own perspective to make it easier for our customers.
And just to add on that, it's like sometimes the small things force a customer to stay on the platform, and also when they compare with another platform, it's like, okay, what do you have different? And like the small things, it changed the whole game. So yeah, that's so exciting. But I need to hop off it in 1 minute. But it was so much fun. Even the whatever the 30 minutes. We are 30 minutes now. Yeah.
And just quickly, that's like one thing that you build software, but like there's not that many people, or I never really had the experience of using a software and saying, hey, can you do this in the system? And all of a sudden you log back in and it's there. And obviously, we're in the luxury of that, of early phase and talking to a smaller group of customers, but I just think that's a beautiful thing. And we've seen the excitement from our customers who are using the system to all of a sudden have this even little dream of a feature or functionality, and it's there 48 hours later. So thank you for making that happen, and just the whole team for being so responsive to what our customers are asking for.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And one thing I mentioned in one of the email thread to the customer is like, we will move fast and execute quickly if that is sort of a pretty what's the word I had used, is like pretty obvious for us. I mean, there is no time to think about why do we do that, because it's obvious for us, for our customer. And yeah, again, thank you so much for him here, and we'll definitely talk to him.
Good evening,
Happy
sir.
Halloween. Lauren,
Thank you.
any help?
Happy Halloween. Happy
Well,
Diwali.
pictures, well, pictures,
Happy
yes,
Diwali.
exactly.
Yeah, all right.
All right, see it.
Okay. Now, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Okay. I'm gonna go back to this for a moment because Nihal, you were helping me with this. Maybe you guys are sick of this part already, but I am not. I still want to figure this out. Just showing up this quick mock-up of this email that we were working on and just sort of talking through it a bit. And maybe if anyone watches this, listens to this, give us some feedback on this, because the idea here, I think I've uncentered this word cloud a little bit, to be honest. I added a new one today. This was from today's conversation, but then anyways, so we have this email that comes out when you upload a file and you sort of get this email back that in some ways is an attempt to summarize it, but not really. And this is one of the questions that you asked me, Hall, which is how do we get over named entity recognition? Great, like named entity recognition is cool. It finds brands, it finds people, whatever. But unless you combine these things together, then there's no context for the information, and it's not as meaningful or valuable as we hope. And so there are companies that are summarizing information by auto summarizing it or displaying sentences. One of the things we've tried to differentiate with Speak a little bit is this visualization component, and tying in visualization to make things actionable, mobilize them. These things are really exciting. And so what we tried to build was just a very standardized email that would come after a meeting. And this was our daily stand-up meeting that shows word cloud, which is an overall representation, sort of visually built and pleasing of what's coming out. The talk time by speakers. Some of this is sample data, but I said to Nihal, it seems like, with me talking 44%, that it's actually fairly accurate. And then a couple things that are action items, basically top sentences that are action items. We use the filter to display to make sure there's enough length for them to be valuable. And then some questions. And then lastly, a little bit of a breakdown by sentiment by speaker. And then the idea here is you would click on this button that would take you to that file, so you can then view the entire file with the insights like we showed in the platform. And this is one file, but what I think is really interesting is obviously there's opportunities for us to do this across an entire week or an entire month. And how can we synthesize that information and display it in a way that gives you some pretty high-level insights, helps you prioritize and learn about yourself, just gain this level of intelligence and awareness that's not possible if just humans were to look at this information alone.
You're able to bring that back up?
Yes, I can. What do you? So you were part of this conversation, Lauren. This was yesterday's conversation. So we talked about Upwork. I think 2 sentences, to be honest.
Like, how exactly was this created? Was it just automatically generated, or did you actually have to choose the action items and the questions? Like, are you able to filter through it all? And
this was automatically generated using keyword and so basically it's identifying keyword and phrases that are part of it. So just trying to see if I can find an example. So want to, for example, is this idea of if you want to do something there, then most likely that's indicative of an action item. And then we're applying a filter over all the sentences that come from a transcript and then produce it in this format to do it. And then with questions, it's actually quite easy because you are just putting sentences with question mark at the end of it, basically.
Is there any way to have this in a Word doc instead? Just because I feel like it's kind of difficult to manipulate this after it's done with just a PDF, because not everybody's got access to a PDF editor. And I'm just thinking of when you have this, what do you do with it afterwards? Can you put answers to these questions as well? I'm just trying to think of how you can add to it as well.
This would actually come, I've exported this as a PDF through the visualization studio that I built it in, but it would come, when you upload a file and you get the email summary right after the file comes, it would be a preview of the analysis from the file. And then you would click view insights and it would take you into the actual back into the platform. So it's just sort of a high level summary of the file that went in. You would get this through email. It wouldn't actually come as a PDF. And then you could jump in right now we're giving export options only as, when you export, you can export with visualizations, but we're not really giving like a summarized or insight overview on an export into a Word doc or a PDF or anything. That's more, we're trying to do that through the software itself. But I think, at some point, if we can get this down to a bit more of a science, there could be an opportunity to export a summary of the presentation that then people share with people who were part of the meeting or whatever there.
Like edit it too and like clean it up a bit so we can share, just because like noticing there's like mistakes there as far as like my name goes. So maybe that's more so like something you would edit in the actual platform, and then you'd hit the view insights, and then it would be fixed at that point. But
yeah, like yeah, sorry.
That's all right. Like PDF is just difficult to work with, and sometimes I find, but I don't know, to each their own.
I think the formatting, like to your point, a lot of the stuff will definitely have to be. There'll still be a certain level of manual, I guess, intervention or fixes that'll need to be made before it can be shared. I guess in the sense of something like this, like the idea behind this would be less. Well, I mean, there could be this report or like, working document that gets sent out, but I guess this would be more of like a call summary or like an email that you get. We were playing around with another platform recently, and they actually let you, granted their target is, do you have a meeting? We'll give you like meeting notes and meeting minutes and a summary, right? Follows a similar format. Didn't really have any of the visualizations, but they had, for example, a list of action items with timestamps that you could actually click onto and like access those specific moments that were discussed. So I think we definitely still have work to do on the, data viz side, making our visualizations actually impactful and useful to the end user. But yeah, like I think the having an editable version is useful for other use cases, versus this would have to fit within like an HTML template and look good as an email, where it usually is narrow or like 720 pixels or whatever.
Yeah, we're not doing a good enough job yet, which is what Lauren says. Like, it sort of sucks when you see your own name spelled wrong. It's like, I am not Lauren, I am Lauren. And it's like, Lauren should only have to edit that once, and he never sees that, never sees that problem again. And that's something that it's just, I think, in the configuration of our system, small team capacity, but it's so obvious of, it's not just obvious that we need to do it. The solution is actually not that difficult. It's more just the time to get there. So it will come. And really it comes down to, we talked about it, but there's this idea with, sort of training models, which is like, if we overcorrect in our account, it could have consequences in other people's accounts unless we, make sure that any training doesn't feed back into other accounts. So someone out there is named Lauren, and all of a sudden her name starts showing up as Lauren, and now she's sad. Lauren, I would rather see you sad than she sad, to be honest, at least now. I hope one day that the system will actually make sure that everyone's training, their models are training on an individual account basis. So they will all have sort of their own personalized speech recognition system for both the transcription and then obviously the insights layer there too. Another thing, quickly.
Expensive.
Hey, don't you talk about expensive. We make dreams happen here, Lauren. No, that's not true. Practical dreams. But as a high level, because we've seen systems, the biggest systems today that are, have really leveraged this kind of data really in relatively the same way are Gong and Chorus AI. ZoomInfo, I believe, just bought Chorus AI, something billion. Gong was $6 billion valuation last year. Not sure what they are now, but it's the same data. It's just wrapped around, CRM systems and sales things. So all of a sudden, the training of the models and then the insights they surface are very valuable. But at a base level, like as a salesperson, and I am terrible at this, is you're trying to reduce your talk time. You're trying to speak. I don't know the exact number, but less than 40% of the conversation. Because if you're speaking more than that, you're not really listening, and you're not people think they're selling by talking, but they're not actually selling by talking. You're selling by listening, and then only making sure that when you do respond or say something, that it's meaningful and you're actually helping people solve the problems that they have. Okay, we continue on this journey then. If you have a list of topics, 値𝗶𝗏, you have one. Do you think we've hit on this, or do you want to sort of continue this conversation about sort of language beyond entities?
No, I mean, I think a lot of what we're going to talk about kind of feeds into that as well. So we can switch topics.
I'll say, been lucky to have, a new friend. I would call him a new friend who's deep into research and does a lot of analysis and visualization and reporting on unstructured text surveys. And he walked us through some of their platform the other day, and you just can learn so much from even just a share of an experienced person who deals with overwhelming amounts of information and how they parse that out and display it back to end users who are generally, I don't want to make the generalization of not tech savvy, but also very busy and probably not prioritizing this information that much unless it's showed really impactfully. So I learned a lot from that. And one of the things that came out of this, and sorry, 値𝗶𝗏, I continue this conversation, was like, how do you take insight or entity or topic, connect that with sentiment, and then show the entire sentence, and then prioritize those sentences, ideally with some sort of system that helps you weight how important this sentence is. So that's a very tough thing. Like in that email that we showed in the example, it's like, here's 50 action items that came out of one conversation that you had, but we are only allowed to show 5. How do you determine what 5? And are the 5 for Lauren, if your 5 are probably are different than the 5 that 値𝗶𝗏 has, and probably the 5 that I have. So how do you not only do it on, if it's going to go to an entire team and the whole team gets it, how do you prioritize that? And then, in an ideal world, maybe everyone's gets a little report after their call, and the insights and the action items are tailored to them based on what they said. Or if 値𝗶𝗏 said to Lauren, Lauren, I need you to do this, then that's the action item that shows. So there's so many layers to giving this information to people based on who they are, what they care about, and what is most important to them in that moment. And a challenge that we continue to take on, one that I think is, added more complexity with the fact that we have many different kinds of customers using the system and different use cases. So we're doing our best. I guess that's all I can say.
Yeah, it's probably just going to require a bit more like interactivity at that point, a bit more ability to choose what you see and who sees it. But I don't really know how to organize that too. That's probably a better question for Vansel.
Well, there's so many challenges to it, right? Because you are, what's relevant to you. How would we know what's relevant to you? Either your name is in a sentence, that name would need to be spelled right, or speakers are identified accurately. So both of those are challenges in automated transcription. So the likelihood for us to give you the most important 5 action items through AI, I don't know what that percentage is right now, but it's probably quite low, to be honest. So how do we improve that? And again, no one expects it to be perfect, but if you can get, I would say the threshold is 70 or 80%, you're creating a lot of value for people that would otherwise take a lot of time manually. So we'll try. We'll see what we can do. The couple of things that we have here. I mean, we did get this web app, this audit. I think we've all taken sort of a surface view look at it. Lauren, I'm not even sure if you had any because you weren't included in the original email. A lot of information. I feel like we overwhelm people with information, and I feel like that's now been done to me by looking through this web audit. So now I understand the feeling. I empathize with the people who use our system. I just guess maybe any high-level thoughts from you on anything that you saw in that audit, anything you learned, or anything that's stuck into you from a quick glance at the first one, and maybe we'll debrief on this more and chat about it more in depth as we have a discussion with the team that did it.
Yeah, they gave a lot of good advice, just in the sense of just cleaning things up. I feel like we're kind of, as you said, overloading people with too much options and they don't really know what to do. So I'm just curious to see what becomes of this. Like, what of all the things that they've like recommended, what do you think is like the most important things to focus on in the future? Because they did give us like, different, like almost 50 different things that we could change here, 40 different things that we can change here. And a lot of the there's a lot of spelling mistakes in this though, a lot of like poor English, so hopefully it's not lost in translation for 𝗲𝗁, because he's probably going to do them.
Yes. Yeah, the spelling stuff and just the format, that makes sense to me. What I care about is, I guess, are these insights, are they valuable and worthwhile? We're gonna have to filter some out, and just again, small teams, so you can't execute on all these right away. But I think all of us, at least I did when I was reading through this, I just sort of was like, oh yeah, nodding my head, being like, yeah, this makes sense. So I hope you guys had the same experience, and they are looking at it from a very empathetic view of people who are designing interfaces and doing audits and understanding software and how it can best be applied. Okay.
Yes, like I think for like to Lauren's point as well, their feedback was good, but from our conversation this morning, I still would like maybe a bit more action items, right? Like just actual. Once again, I don't know if that was the scope of the audit portion of this, but I would imagine so, right? So it would be nice to get, maybe actual, like even like information structural changes, right? Because for example, they discussed how our information hierarchy wasn't great, right? Where we're kind of making primary, secondary, and tertiary information all seem just as important when realistically it's not. But they didn't necessarily specify how we can execute on that to actually improve the experience, right? So there's still a lot of deduction to be done on our side. It's kind of like, our platform. Like we dump all this information on you and then run with it, right? make what you will with it. So I feel like I would like that that next step maybe as well, because considering the capacity for a team and like the scope, you don't want 𝗲𝗁 to necessarily be spending his time trying to figure out these final solutions and how to implement them. We kind of want just, here's like, here are the changes, here's the wireframe, here's how we can structure it, implement it, right? Like I feel like that would be a good next step for us to maybe look at.
I remember the days of web development and marketing. It was like a lead generation, basically. Like this audit. Basically, you're a developer or marketer, and you're like, hey, can you take a look at my site and give me an audit? It's like, yeah, your site sucks. Here's everything that's wrong with it now. I guess you need to find someone to fix this for you. It's going to be $10,000. Like that. It's that process that we're in that pipeline of. We choose how deep we want to engage, but I agree that 𝗲𝗁 could be building functionality based on something that our customers directly asked, or building out a better machine learning pipeline, or doing aesthetic modifications on the platform. And he's been very nice to date to make those changes, because he obviously cares, and this is something that he really cares about. But at some point, 𝗲𝗁 needs to be able to emerge, lift himself off from those tasks to focus on higher value things. I mean, we all know this is valuable. We know this is important. And if we don't have a good user experience, nothing really matters. But there are other people who are extremely talented in just this without maybe the technical abilities of 𝗲𝗁 and the possibilities that he could do to build value into the company. So that's definitely something we're going to have to try to figure out here. And I think we're getting closer and closer to that. Just some work to do.
Was this agency, like, were we planning on having them, actually help out with UI UX and like actually put some work into actual designing, or is this just an audit kind of similar to what we had done before with the last agency there?
I'm still deciding that too. I think we need to review the audit, see, do we all feel satisfied with this audit? Is this the kind of the quality of work that we want to then move forward with from, design and development standpoint? And then the other challenge is, depending on how close that engagement could be, you're opening up possible. You just have to be careful with, who you're working with. Not that there's like sensitive data really from a code perspective, but if you're opening up production level code, there's risk involved in that. And so you really want to be sure that you're working with the right people. So that's just, I think, our thing to consider is there's a difference between bringing someone full-time into the company, building that. Ideally we give them a company computer, they use that, the code is on that. If they're not working with us anymore, the computer comes back, the code is on that, then, letting other people have access to that, especially very savvy tech people. So that's something that every, I think, company has to consider if they're building up tech or they're expanding their team and considering whether hiring a contractor, full-time person, or, maybe an agency to help with that process. So, I had the same experience in marketing. It's like, do people want to give you access to Facebook Ads Manager, Google Ads, analytics? It's like everything, right? So just how do you incorporate developers into it without putting yourself in a tough position there? I'm watching the $1 Billion Code on Netflix right now, and I'm actually only on the first episode, but it seems like this is the path that it's going to head down, where code is shared and things happen because of it. So I want to learn from that show and not fall victim to that same thing. Not that these are good people anyway. So, okay, 7 minutes. Let's talk about this last topic here. We alluded to it a little bit last week, but this DealBook went live. I don't know how live, to be honest, but they said that we could at least share the links out on our own, network. I would like to see, okay. DealBook goes live. I'll share this on the screen. We'll flip through it a little bit. DealBook goes live. We're marketers here. What do? Throw some UTM tags on everything. Basically make everything trackable, because sometimes people do things like this and everyone expects great results. And then you're like, I'm not so sure. And so that's one thing that we're doing. But this is really cool. This was the government of Canada saying, we like to highlight some of the best companies growing in Canada. Help them connect with investors, help them get more awareness, find new customers, and sort of go down this, we're going to curate this list and share it out with all the people that we know. So first of all, thank you. We really appreciate it. Government of Canada, Justin Trudeau, whoever these people are. And they basically, curate this. You've got a list based on sort of the round size that you're raising, and then they'll group you and they'll actually, do some really nice one-pagers that were in it. So I'm selfish. I'm going to go right through to, oh God, yeah. No, I am not good with alphabets, apparently. Speak, we have our nice little piece here. This took a long time to put together. 𝗲𝗏 and I spent quite a bit of time hacking each other on sentences here. But in the end came to a nice one-page summary that will be shared out. And I think also nice for us to just build it down into a one-page, what we're doing, and try to articulate that as best we can, obviously to possible customers, but to investors as well too. So I guess just any thoughts on that? It was exciting to share that out. Hopefully we see some inbound interest in that, and just was a good process to go through. 𝗲𝗏, appreciate all the support, and even some late nights trying to finalize the version of it.
Where can people go and find this? Is there a link? Like, is there like a certain website they can go to, or do they have to like actually have access to the link here? And
great question. They're doing a link version and then a PDF version, and I believe that PDF is probably going out to like a curated email list of people who have been interested in the thing in the past, most likely investors, probably different levels of investor, institutional, angel, VC kind of thing. So I'll share the link. I'll put it in the YouTube video, and I did share it on LinkedIn today as well too. Any thoughts? No, you're good? Okay, all right. I have not much else to talk about, and I've done too much talking here today. You guys are making me eat up the talk time today. Yeah. Couple of exciting things. Shout out to Microdose team here for putting this conference on in Miami. Really excited to meet some friends who I've been talking to virtually for years now and have never got to meet in person. It's very exciting coming up. That's November 6th and November 13th. Looking forward to that a lot. Did an event last night, in-person event, pitch event. I didn't pitch, I just watched pitches and learned a lot from that, just to see people go up in person again and pitch. And, they had 5 minutes and 10 slides. So right now we have this sort of behemoth of a slide deck that's grown based on what people have asked us. But you're creating different purposes with slide decks based on, what you're trying to accomplish. So if you're trying to get all the information out there, that's one version of a slide deck. But generally what you're trying to get people to do is be interested enough in your company that they want to hop on a call. And again, ideally that call is, satisfactory, and they believe in you and they believe in the team and what you're working on. So that's another thing that stuck out to me. I learned some things yesterday about pitching and also watching investors give feedback in real time right after a pitch that I'm going to include as we try to go through this next iteration of a pitch deck. I think that's it for the topics here today. We'll close this out a little bit early. One thing that 𝗲𝗏 and I've been talking a little bit about, and still formatting this early in my head, but is a big topic in marketing and advertising, which is this idea of sort of like first party data. And as cookies ends and, Apple tightens up, what they're doing on iOS devices, and, advertising platforms seem to have less and less performance every year and higher costs. There's a really big need for teams, for people to get information and feedback and conversations with their real customers. And that's where you can learn the most anyways. And so what I think we're really set up here at Speak is, even through, say, you use the embeddable recorder, you capture testimonials, you capture, or you take a Zoom conversation and you pull it into Speak. We're really trying to build a tool, an analytics tool that can help you get the information that you want from some of the most important, moments that you have as a business owner, or even just as a person. And I think, this shift is helping set us up, for a great few years here. So excited to drill down more into that and just the importance of first party data, getting the voice of your customer and learning from the people who you care about most and people who care about you most. So, I guess maybe not anything if you have any early thoughts on that, and maybe we'll start to format that out as we move forward.
Yeah. Sorry, my brain's kind of drawing a blank today.
That's okay, sir.
Yeah.
I will end this now. I think we're good. Lauren, are you good? Swamp Thing? 𝗲𝗏, thanks for joining. Lauren, thanks for joining. 𝗲𝗏, appreciate you coming in. As always, love these sessions every Friday. I look forward to them. And this is number 40. We've done this for quite a while. We're almost at 52 here. It's in a whole year, every single Friday. I think we've only missed, don't even like to talk about it. We missed one. It's pretty impressive. And, there's so much good things that have been talked about here, that we've learned about each other, about the company, and also shared with people and gotten feedback and build relationships with people that we care about. So grateful for anyone who watches this, listens to it, reads it, whatever format you're doing. And thank you very much. And happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Halloween.
Have a good weekend.